is a necessity. When you awaken, all may become clear. You chose to trust me, a voice on a broken telephone. Perhaps just a voice in your mind. Did you ever consider that? You have learned much and come far. My apologies for the gas, but it was necessary. You left quite the trail of carnage, did you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead. Poisoned by your hand, and the potent toxin developed by Dr. Holder. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
No trouble, all right.
You did it and survived to boot. Splendid work. Thanks to you, we're going home. There's still plenty to deal with here, but that's somebody else's concern now. I promised to get you out, and I shall keep that promise. And in a single bowl, we are free. Splendid work. You'll go into the history books for this, you know. Atomfall couldn't have been fully realized without your help. By the end of next week, there won't be so much as a beetle still alive in the zone. Not a trace of the contamination left. Or anything. Or anybody, in fact. But you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs, eh? Ooh, omelette. Something to look forward to. I do love a good omelette. Don't you?
You decided to support Captain Sims and the quarantine protocol. Now the interference field is down. Operation Atomfall can go ahead, cleansing the zone. Cleansing. Sounds so humane, doesn't it? You left quite the trail of carnage, did you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead. The Windscale plant is destroyed. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
You made it! I owe you every thanks. The country does. Damn it, the world does! The infernal whispering in my mind that has dogged me for 5 years, they're fading into silence! Blissful silence! Do you understand? The toxin is working. Soon the interference field will come down and people will begin to arrive from outside. There may be some awkward questions when that happens. People who haven't lived through what we have might not understand why we did what we did. Come on. We should leave before they arrive. Stay close. There's a secret route out here. With luck, these wretched blue eyes of ours will fade over time. Until then, we'll need to hide where no one can find us. Come on.
You helped Dr. Alan Holder in his plan to create a special toxin to deal with Oberon. It certainly seems to have worked. Now you may leave with Holder, although his plans only ever extended as far as killing Oberon. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, poisoned by your hand, and the potent toxin developed by Dr. Holder. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
The woods are...
Once that's safely stowed, we can go. Oh, good heavens. Does it matter at this juncture? Why should you even care? I'm your way out. And believe you me, we need to leave quickly. Very well. I suppose you'll find out soon enough. I suppose you might call me a fellow traveler. I've worked so hard to get the secrets of Oberon out of the zone, because we simply can't let them be buried here. You know, outside the walls, they're talking about MAD. Mutually assured destruction. Each side with enough bombs to ensure nobody dares use them. In the wrong hands, Oberon could destroy the planet. That's why it needs to be in everyone's hands, so no one can use it. It's as simple as that. Anyway, enough talking. The sample? Excellent. Now let's get out of here. Sorry about that, but you'll live. My friends just want a little chat first. Well, more like a debrief, really. Actually, it's probably more like an interrogation.
You chose to trust Joyce Tanner and to help her. You kept your side of the bargain. You took a sample of Oberon and gave it to her. No small task. Now she has summoned her mysterious friends, whoever they are. You can all escape together, I'm sure. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Oberon is dead, poisoned by your hand, and the potent toxin developed by Dr. Holder. The interference field should rapidly fade now, and perhaps the outside world will finally see what has happened here. So ends the quarantine.
My dear, you are our miracle. The voice is singing like never before. There is one last leap you must make, and then you will be free. Throw yourself into the pit. I am right behind you, child. Let the soil catch us. Let it set us free.
You listened to the land, heeded the call of the great purpose, and the wisdom of the voice in the soil. And now you are one with the soil and that voice. I shall miss our little chats. You left quite the trail of carnage, didn't you? But sometimes violence is necessary, I know. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words.
I see you found me well enough. Now, give me that sample and we can leave. Splendid. Indeed, let us be gone. This way, quickly. There's plenty of research for us to be getting on with.
You freed Diane Garrow from the protocol, and even agreed to fetch a sample of the very living heart of Oberon. Dr. Garrow seems very pleased with that sample. One hopes she remembers her part of the bargain. You listened to good advice and wise words, which is to say, my advice and my words. So many shoot first and ask questions afterwards. Not you, though. Gregarious type, aren't you? It's nice to have a good chinwag, isn't it? Oberon lives. The status quo maintained. But you took a sample that may push the balance one way or the other in the future. The quarantine remains, and the walls stand strong. For the moment, at least.
The woods are dark and the woods lie deep, and the woods are home to summers don't sleep. So sit thee down and hear me tell of the woods that stand on Casterfell. For the trees stand close, are watered in blood. Stay out of that place, be you blithe, be you good. There's no virtuous errand that ever you should ever need to walk in Casterfell Wood. Madmen and scoundrels go into that place and are never more seen and are gone without grace. They dine at the table of Casterfell Keep, then stand in the ranks of them as don't sleep. For the trees stand close, are watered in blood. Stay out of that place, be you blithe, be you good. There's no virtuous errand that ever you should ever need to walk in Casterfell Wood. So a word to the wise if you fear for your soul. Stay far from the keep in the trees on the knoll. Or you might join the ranks of those wretched men, and you'll never know the pleasure of sleep again. For the trees stand close, are watered in blood. Stay out of that place, be you blithe, be you good. There's no virtuous errand that ever you should ever need